Well then, fool all of you!
Welcome, everybody, to Court Cousins, episode 22. My name is Kyle. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my cousin, Jason the Pich. Episode 22, very fitting, Pich, for NBA Draft 2022.
Indeed.
We've got a great episode for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start by checking in with each other, of course, for our ROLO Check In. We'll scour the interwebs and our social media roundup. We'll play a game of Fact or Fiction, Pich. Haven't done that in a while. Excited for that.
Fact. I'm ready.
We have some fan features, and then we're going to finish it off with our large finish. But of course, as we do always, a special shout out to our second cousins on Patreon, Gloria, Damien, Nadra, and Connor. Thanks so much for your support. If you'd like to support, folks, please go over to the Patreon. $5 is the bottom tier. Buy us a beer, get a shout out from Pich. Just like that.
Yep.
And if you're not financially able to right now, that's totally fine. Just like, subscribe, share. That'd be a good help.
Indeed.
So before we get into all the hijinks and the shenanigans, shall I say?
Oh, yes.
Pich, how you feeling a day after the NBA draft for our ROLO Check In?
Well, I had to go into Canva once again and have some fun. But I've got this picture here of the portrait, and it's been updated.
Yes.
It's Stuff and Rolo enjoying a picture of our number one pick, Paolo Banchero.
Yeah. Is that the pronunciation?
I don't know. I've heard many different pronunciations.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting to know the right one. As a guy who's a Bucks fan, we all had to go through it with Giannis, and trying to figure out how to say the last name. So looking forward to it. In a lot of ways, we'll get into that a lot on the show today, but I'm elated. If you check us out on Instagram, you can see the live video of our reaction, and I didn't know I would be that excited. And I don't know if I've been excited about anything that much in a long while. So It was a pretty great video. It was pretty awesome. I was genuinely surprised, and it was... I'm very excited about it. We're going to talk about it more in the show, but that's where I'm at. That's how I'm feeling for this check-in, is I'm just elated, surprised, feeling good, optimistic about the future, and happy to be here.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah.
How are you feeling for the ROLO check-in?
Well, I'm also feeling a lot of those emotions because I was on the Paolo bandwagon from early on and stuck it out. I'm glad I stuck it out. But as you can see, I've got to beat up Robin Lopez today because in my elation, in my jubilation of sharing such excitement with many Orlando Magic fans yesterday at the Barclays Arena, I imbibed many adult beverages. And so this morning, I kind of want to just be curling up in a fetal position right now as opposed to recording this podcast. But, you know, we got responsibilities, Pich.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that this is the take that you have on that.
Yeah.
I think you looked a little better than
that's
Robin
how I feel
here,
on the inside. See, I might
okay.
be projecting well right now. That's the old actor coming through, but that's how I feel on the inside right now.
I mean, he does have a little bit of a zombie look on his face, which is what I like to call you when you hit a certain level. It's Zombie Kyle. And you were there yesterday.
I was there.
Well,
I
Zombie
can't
Kyle
use
was
any
there.
of the videos that I took after a certain point. My eyes are all closed. I'm just slurring and making no sense.
He doesn't get any of my under jokes. It was almost at a point I was
You're
like,
alone.
I feel like I'm here by myself. But no, we had other Magic fans there that were hearing me and giving the that I needed to hear.
All right, so day after the draft, that's how we're feeling. And let's go right into the social media roundup and start by talking a little bit about our draft experience. This first post, Pich, is from you, the Pich 802, if you don't already follow Pich on Twitter and Instagram. And you said, we out here getting hyped for the draft at Court Cousins, hashtag Magic Together. You got a photo of myself, Yachty, Matt, and yourself at the bar Fulton Hall, which was a couple blocks away from Barclays, where we had a nice meetup with those folks. Sam came through, Joey and Carly came through. It was great to just meet up with some Magic fans,
It sure
start,
was.
you know, chewing the fat, talking about, the team, who we thought we were going to pick, and the folks shared who they thought they were going to pick.
Yeah, we'll hear some of their takes later in the show, but it was great to talk to them. A couple of natural Floridians.
Yeah.
Yachty flew in that day
What a
for the
champion.
draft. What
Yachty,
a champ.
You're a champion.
As cool as being at the draft was for me, and there's a lot of stuff that we'll get to talking about, talking with those guys and meeting up with them was maybe the highlight for me. It is very rare in these parts to run into other Magic fans that isn't just someone wearing a Penny jersey because it looks cool.
Right.
So it was great to be able to talk Magic with people who know what they're talking about and are from the area. So to me, that was awesome, and it was great hanging out with them. It made it feel like we had a little click there.
Yep.
There was a fair amount of Magic fans inside that we met as well that we didn't see at the meetup, but talked to there. And I was impressed with the amount of people that came out for the Magic, and it was just awesome to meet everybody and talk about the team we love, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. We have another post from that meetup from Yachty who captured you in all of your glory, Pich. Well,
Yes.
not quite all of the glory because you don't have the full uni on here.
No, but there's a great one of me out front of Barclays, and I was in a few other people. I had to take pictures with other people with this sign.
Yeah.
I was interviewed by somebody else's podcast. Definitely got some run outside of Barclays.
I thought Pich was gonna go viral for a second. If we chose Chet, it may have been an issue.
I said that in the live. I was like, everyone's going to use this picture if we draft Chet and say, how sad is this guy right now?
It
But
might have been a
it didn't
problem.
happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the larger version of my little sign, which I featured on the show. And I left that thing right in Barclays. It didn't even come back with me.
Yeah.
They took my Sharpie at the door because we can't bring
true.
them in. And then
Yeah.
I just left my sign there too because I don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
It's not our problem.
All right, so before we get into some of the draft talk, there was some news that even arrived to our ears.
Wait a minute.
Wait,
I think it's time.
what time?
It's time for a moment with Pichet. Yes, that's right. My last name is actually Pichet. That's full government, by the way. And we shorten it to Piche. That's what everybody calls me, is Piche, but it's actually Pichet. Rhymes with Dante. You see where we're going here, but I'm going to have a special twist on it because I'm not always lovey-feely good. So,
Really good.
everybody was always asking, what would we have done? What would you have done if we drafted Chet? Are you going to get on board? I gotta be real here in a way that I probably wasn't before because I was super nervous about it, as you can see in the video that we took at the draft. The Magic have had a habit in the past of drafting some guys I just did not like, I didn't believe in, and I didn't want on my squad. We even traded for guys like Glenn Big Baby Davis that I can't root for that guy. They've done that sometimes and muddled up teams that I wanted to be a part of. And I was a casual fan for a while because I didn't like Aaron Gordon and I wanted him off our team. I knew he wasn't the guy. And I was worried that Chet Holmgren was going to come in and be that guy. And I didn't want him to mess up all this love that has brewed over the last year and a half for this team in what we're building. And I was super nervous he was going to come in to this beautiful brew that we've got and be just dirty oil into this beautiful thing that we want to sip on and enjoy for a long time. And so I was really nervous that it was going to hurt my love for the team, maybe this podcast,
Yeah, shoot.
and just take everything back. And I'm just glad he's not our problem. He's somebody else's. And I'll tell you what, one of my favorite moments from the draft was second round. We're sitting there. You're a little exhausted. Zombie Kyle's starting to fade a bit. And you just go, I'm so glad we didn't draft Chet, man. And I was like, yes, you finally said it. I think a lot of Magic fans were on the fence. You didn't want to say these things because you thought you were going to have to root for whoever puts on our jersey. And I understand that take, but me, I had to be real. I didn't want the guy. I spoke up, and now we don't have him. Super excited about it. Now you guys can all come out of the closet too. We didn't like him, and now we don't have him. That's why we're so happy about having Paolo Banchero. Welcome to the team, my friend. Thank you.
A moment with Pichet.
That's a moment with Pichet.
Well, another player that's a popular player in the Orlando Magic organization that's going to be joining Paolo Banchero is our good old friend Cash Considerations at Team 2-4 and Orlando Magic over everything posted. It's that time of the year again where Orlando Magic fans get to welcome our favorite player to Orlando, cash considerations.
I, first of all, would like to take a second to realize that these guys, much like a really big bank vault, have one of the largest handles I've ever seen. But also inside that vault is cash considerations. I think it was one of our favorite. I'm so confused about cash considerations.
We need some clarification.
What does it mean? How much is it? Is it
Yeah.
$10,000? Is it $1 million? Is it $25 million? Who gets this cash consideration?
Yeah.
What's it good for? I
Yeah.
mean, I have no idea.
So many questions.
It's so vague.
Yeah.
So I get that we probably weren't going to be able to have a roster spot for 2 second-round picks, and that we were probably going to make at least one move.
Right.
I don't know. This is a good one because you're basically trading a pretty high second-round pick for whatever the Lakers are going to produce in a few years. And so that's why we want to know how much the cash is. Is it worth it?
Yeah, right. And it was a little disappointing, too, because going into yesterday, myself, I know a lot of you out there, were kind of thinking that we might package those 2 picks, maybe plus T. Ross if he really still wants out, and then make a move up a little bit further.
Yes.
And try to get someone who may have fallen a little bit, try to see if we could get another kind of more top tier upside guy.
Sure.
No disparaging Caleb Houston. Don't know too much about him yet. Have just started to kind of dig in there.
Sure.
But it was just kind of the same old, and it was a little bit of a letdown, truthfully. But understandable.
It didn't ruin my high. I was not expecting too much out of that. But yeah, I did think we might sign and trade one of our guys or maybe
Right.
T. Ross and then package and move. But, sometimes less is more. And I actually thought there was going to be a lot of trades in this. And there was a few, but nothing major except for maybe a couple we'll talk about later. But nothing as big as I thought. No one in the top 10 really swapped around like I thought would.
Right,
and
right,
so
right.
less is more. I guess teams were saying, hey, we're going to stand pack and not.
I mean, we got the most important thing, right? We got Paolo Banchero, right? As Magic Time 32 posted, Paolo in the slick purple regal royalty, baby, coming through to Orlando. The necklace is gaudy. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't dig it, but I know it's a style with the kids these days.
I love
don't
me some.
dig that,
I love me some
but
Paulo, but if I
the
might for a
suit
second,
is-
I'm not feeling the suit. Like
You're not feeling
I
the
like
suit.
the purple, and it's different. And I understand in fashion we take some wild swings sometimes.
Yeah.
But he's out here looking like a purple Christmas tree with all those little ornaments hanging off him. I wasn't really sure what they
What
were.
are those things?
I don't know. I tried to look at them. They just kind of look like little balls to me, and it's
Yeah.
very strange. But I understand that people make some swings, and no one's going to forget this suit.
It's fashion.
That's for sure. So I think it lands on that.
Yeah.
High fashion's really not for me.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you don't
so this
say.
is not. This is just not meant for me. But it's a look that will be timeless.
Yeah.
Because all night they kept showing like people in their draft suits from past, and some of them you're like, oh yeah, I remember that one. I remember that one. This will be one of those ones that's remembered
Right.
for taking a wild swing. It would have worked better if the Sacramento Kings were going to get him. I think I would have liked to seen that suit in blue, but he seemed genuinely surprised by the draft.
Yeah, he
as
really
did we,
did. He
which is
really
kind of
did.
interesting.
Yeah.
He said he was told 20 seconds before, as it was happening, his agent said across the table that it's happening, and it's like, I liked that. That was cool. They made it fun for everybody, and we'll get to his spectacular work in the front office in a minute.
Yeah, no, he definitely was genuinely surprised watching some of those videos of the interviews that we couldn't see because we didn't get all
Right.
of the interviews while we're in the arena. We did have one interview. We had Who was doing the interviews for us? It was
Dennis Scott.
Dennis Scott,
Yeah.
which was awesome. He was
3D. Yeah.
he was the in stadium
Right.
interviewer, which was fantastic.
I was a little thrown just from watching the draft perspective.
Yeah.
There was so many different spots set up where
Yeah.
ESPN's over here and TNT and they all had their own booth.
Right.
One of them was behind us at the end where Stephen A. Smith and those guys were.
Oh, yeah.
And it was we were only hearing Dennis Scott and that guy Michael, which were they were okay, but I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to hear what the other guys were saying.
That's true. Dennis Scott was lit though. He was really hyping the crowd.
He was
He
fun.
was a great MC for the evening. And so now, Pish, from Duke men's basketball, reminding us that we have multiple Duke Blue Devils with Wendell Carter Jr. and now Paolo Banchero. How's your Tar Heels feeling over there?
I'm going to put Ramsey here while I talk about this, and he's got some earplugs in, so he can't hear it, but I'm for this. I don't know if I've ever cheered a Duke player as much as I did Paolo getting drafted, although I've also cheered Wendell quite a bit. I'm definitely at
Wendell's
a point
your
where,
guy.
you know, it's not like I went to North Carolina. I just always liked North Carolina as a kid growing up, and that was like, you know, my team. And I did watch them win the championship in St. Louis in 2005, so I've
That's
seen some
pretty
good things from them. But Duke is a storied program that's put out some good guys. We've had definitely a lot of Duke guys roll through here, and I didn't like the last one we picked, which was J.J. Redick, but, you know, I grew to be tolerant of him.
Yeah.
It's not about where you're from. It's about who you are. And, you know, Coach K was a great coach. A lot of guys go through there that had good careers. So,
Yeah, and
glad to
something
have him on board.
resonated with me with Weltman speaking to the media yesterday after the draft around Duke basketball and talking about how Paulo, if anyone can have said to have gone through the pressure cooker
yeah.
and
Right.
come out the other side
Yes.
strong, the second half of his year was definitely stronger than his first. And can you imagine more pressure for a 19-year-old kid than playing in Coach K's last year as a Duke Blue Devil?
True.
I mean,
True.
and being the guy.
Right.
And he did really rise to the occasion. I know they didn't come through in the end. They didn't win
Sure.
the chip or anything, but
Sure.
he had strong games down the line. You couldn't necessarily say it was for lack of trying with
Yeah,
him.
what was the team that beat them to end their season? I don't, was it?
You forgot. It slipped your mind, huh? Huh. I think Cole Anthony might agree with you in that sentiment. Someone that will not agree with our love of our newest Duke Blue Devil, our newest Orlando Magic, is the Houston Rockets fans. And this has been going around. A number of people in the Magic community have been reposting this. I don't want to give this too much shine out of fear that this might become another Toronto situation with us and them going back and forth after the draft last year, but this is pretty funny.
With the first pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Paolo.
Because Houston Rockets, I mean, it looked like the Rockets were going to get Paolo Banchero, which for me, who wanted Paolo Banchero the whole time for the Magic, was infuriating because now they're going to pair Banchero next to Jalen Green, who's also a dynamic scorer.
Yeah.
Those two guys, oh
Right.
my God, that would be just crazy moving forward to defend. But
Right.
thankfully, we didn't. And you can hear like audible, like, oh shit, no, like
And
why?
people reaching for their heads
Yeah,
and being like,
people-
oh, just a general
groans.
groans. And it was one of those deals where, you know, and look, hey, here's the deal. Let me clear this up right now.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I wasn't flying a Team Paulo flag because I was flying the anyone but Jet flag.
Right.
But that's who I knew was the best player, too. I just thought we were going to draft Jabari Smith, into my mock. And you also thought we were going to draft Chet. But we wanted Paulo. We just didn't think they'd take him.
Yeah.
So, like, overall, we got the best guy, and I'm excited about it. But I think Rocket fans knew that, too.
Yeah.
And that's why they were so excited. They're like, oh, this guy's going to fall to us at 3. Awesome. You know, look, we all thought that.
Yeah.
And now look, even Jabari Smith Jr. saw it. It was
He
all over
definitely
his
thought
face when he got drafted. I felt
Yep.
bad for that young man.
I did, too.
But he's going to ball out when he plays against us, I think, because he's going to be mad.
That's the first summer league game, Rockets versus us. That's
Woo,
gonna be
tune
that's gonna be
in.
some heat. Yeah, definitely.
Tune in. Yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be a little bit of a beef with some Rocket fans because it's the second year in a row we've all drafted kind of up at the top together, and we're all trying to rise out of the bottom to the top. hopefully together. Our
Someone's
teams do
gotta
have a history in the NBA Finals, which you may be a little too young to remember,
I
but
remember that.
was our first Finals loss. So, yeah, it could be fun if we all get hot at the same time and meet in the final. You know, I still think Jabari Smith's going to have a good career, and he's I think, still in a good spot in Houston.
They had a
if
good
if
draft.
this didn't ruin his mind,
No,
and he focuses,
I think it's giving him a chip. I
Yeah,
think
maybe.
they just got an even better and more determined Jabari Smith Jr. I think.
But I think Paolo is more suited to be that number one guy.
Oh,
and hold
yeah.
that, like you said.
But they have
with the-
Jalen Green, who's already kind of established himself as the number one guy there.
He's their leader guy.
And they had a good draft, which I want to talk about a little bit later,
sure.
too.
Okay.
Just a last detail in this social media roundup around just the number one pick. Well, not quite, but around Paolo's contract. It was reported by Sports Track. I'm getting this off of their feed. It's a 2-year, $22.3 million contract with 2 club options that will max out at a 4-year, $49.4 million a year. So, 12-ish million dollars, $12.5 million a year for our new number one pick. So good for you, sir.
Seems good. I'll do it for half. No? All right. No takers.
Now we do need to talk about Pich, and the Magic community has been a buzz ever since.
If we're going to talk about Weltman, we got to go to Well God.
Of course. So the clandestine nature and the tight-lipped ship of our Orlando Magic front office has been much a buzz because as Jeremy or JX Remy noted, we made Woj look like a fool, and pretty much every other media outlet out there that had those messages, sources say, looking like it's a solid pick, everything,
damn.
it's
I hate all that.
almost a guarantee that Jabari Smith Jr. is going to Orlando.
I don't even follow those guys. I don't know why people do. I'm just tired of those guys. I'm glad we made those guys look like fools.
Well,
Love it.
We'll take credit, but it was the Welt man and and Hammond that really, they're running a good operation over there. Really nothing leaked out. And Jeff Weltgod notes that this was Weltman last night addressing the media about why he didn't leak any Paolo Banchero information.
Yes.
Because, quote, real G's move in silence like lasagna. Jeff Weltman. Which I didn't get earlier.
I
was
audibly
like, what?
laughed out loud.
I was like, what? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why is lasagna silent? I eat pretty loudly when I eat lasagna. But then you explained to me there's a G. There's a silent G. Which is embarrassing because I'm an English teacher. So spelling, that should be something I pick up on.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
These are the kind of things I was saying last night that Zombie Kyle didn't get.
I'm still rising from the dead right now. As I say, go back to my ROLO Check In, all right? I'm beat
But
up.
this is a great take. I love to see that.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop there. He gave us another gem of Jeff Weltman collecting from all of the Vegas bets he made his friends and family make. Look at him with the stacks and stacks of money.
See, this one has me bitter because I use FanDuel and Sugar House here in Connecticut.
Yep.
And I saw, like, right when it came out on FanDuel, the odds for Paolo Banchero were just so far. It was like plus 1,600.
Right.
And I was like, this is my dude. I should throw down $5 on him.
Sure.
Something.
Sure. Something.
And I said, you know what? There must be something I'm missing here because plus 1,600 is freaking crazy.
Yeah.
It just might not be in the cards. Let me keep my $5. I'll buy myself a beer at the draft or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happens. Pich.
Yeah. We maybe don't remember. We talked about this a little bit on the way home last night.
No, don't remember.
Going to try to recreate the rant for you because I feel like it was good. I just love this so much for our franchise that this is our guy out front. People were like, oh, he gave that press conference like a week before and was like, oh, well, the paper's not due till Friday. I'm not going to hand it in on Monday and stuff like this.
Yep.
All that stuff, that's good stuff, people. I know you want information.
I do.
But he wants to keep things tight-lipped because not only does that give you the opportunity to figure out what other teams want to do, like he later said, they talked to all the teams. They tried to figure stuff out. They tried to see if there was a room to get Paolo later and trade down and all. They exercised all avenues, but they never tipped their hand. They kept things tight-lipped inside, and that's great because the rest of the NBA has looked at Orlando as a stomping grounds, as a we're just going to come in and get a victory, and you guys don't matter. You're just down there in Florida. And Weltman said, Fuck you guys. That's right. I dropped the F-bomb.
Wow.
Because this guy basically is saying, no, it ain't going to be like that anymore. Not under my watch. We're doing things different. We're getting our guy. We're bringing him in. And we didn't tell any of you anything. You didn't even know he worked out for us. But we knew all about this kid. And I love it. Because that is just getting business done like a businessman should. He didn't get too involved with, I got to give these guys a taste of what's here, what's there.
Yeah, yeah.
All business, which, as you know from our last show, was with the theme. All business. I love it from Jeff Weltman. Well done, sir. Applause for you.
I'll give you a clap. Give you a clap, Jeffy. Give you a clap, Jeffy Poo. Fedge.
I don't know. Maybe you're not a fan of that take.
Well, no,
I think
no.
it's going to be good for us in the long run because then if players are there
I
and they
get
know
that.
their information's not going to get leaked, that's great too because then people are
Definitely.
going to want to come play here.
Definitely.
And people haven't wanted to come play in Orlando for a while. That is turning, but that is really turning around.
I'm a little cautious, Pich, because I don't want to enable him with this obfuscation that he likes and this quietness. There's a time and place for it, Jeff. All right? There's a time and place. I understand when you're talking about contracts, when you're talking about, agreements with players, personal information, that stuff needs to stay within, just out of respect for other individuals. I get it. But I'm still pissed about last season when we just knew nothing of our players. Or even the fact of just being more available or making players more available or when they're injured, when they're out, and like what exactly is going on. You can be honest without giving away too many things or putting false expectations. So that's all I want to say. I don't want to go back into that conversation.
Fair enough.
That's kind of a last season conversation.
Well,
Hopefully
it's
we won't
good
need
that
to have
you're
it.
not letting him off the hook for this
I'm not
one
letting
good
him off
move.
the hook,
That's
though.
fine. That's fine.
I'm not. I
I
appreciate.
am. This was the proper time.
I see the benefit, and I'm still holding on to it. I'm still bitter.
All right.
But Pisha's moved on. I'm proud of you, man. That takes a lot of courage.
Yo, I told you I left that sign there. I left a lot behind.
Yeah, you left a lot
And we're
behind.
moving
That
forward.
Yeah, that was a cathartic experience for you, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let's talk about moving forward here and who Paolo Banchero is going to be joining. Now, StatMuse certainly doesn't know who Paolo Banchero is going to be joining, as the six-man show pointed out.
Use a casual.
Because StatMuse posted the Magic got a squad. That they do have correct. They said, but then their starting lineup is Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr. And coming off the bench, Markelle Fultz, T. Ross, R.J. Hampton, J.I., Mo Bamba. They left out Moritz Wagner.
Yep.
Left out Chuma Okeke on this list.
Right.
And so the six-man thankfully points out Markelle Fultz coming off the bench. Okay, StatMuse.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's like they just turn on the video game, look at the rankings, and go by that or
Right.
something. They're not seeing. They're remembering a Markelle Fultz from the Sixers or something, and being like, "Oh, that's their bench guy." It's like, no, man.
Yeah.
He's got
He's the
all-star
guy.
potential,
Yeah.
and played really well when he came back last year, even in limited minutes, and then towards the end started to play a little bit more. Holy crap! I'm excited to watch him go a full season. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming off the bench regularly for
No.
us. It's not a
No.
thing. So it's funny, but also to then, put T. Ross on our bench when he might be headed out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
Mixed signals from him a little
mixed
bit.
signals because he had a nice reaction to the team getting Paolo. And
Yeah.
as I pointed out on someone's post, T. Ross said, he wanted to go to a playoff team. And it's like, hey, bud, check it out. You were on one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe he's changed his mind and maybe he will be here.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. That would be interesting. I know on his podcast, too, he commented how there were more guys in the gym at this point in the summer than he's ever. It's not natural. It's not
Right.
normal. He said
Right.
the amount of guys that are still kind of around Orlando.
Sure.
And that just speaks to the culture of what's going on here. But, this is funny. I'm glad the guys at Six Man shouted this out because it's just consistent with the way that national media keeps getting it wrong, keeps not really understanding where we are. And just like you said on a couple past pods, Pish, let's keep it that way. They
Yeah.
don't know we're coming.
Right.
Let's
Right.
keep it that way. Nobody knows
Yeah.
who Markelle Fultz is, I guess.
If everybody sets the expectations high and you don't meet them, then it's a failure.
Right.
But at this point, people aren't really going to expect much from us.
Yeah.
And if we're in the playoffs next year, people are going to be like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's a jump. But I think all of us are kind of like, this is a very possible thing. So, enjoy getting to be wowed by the magic, the rest
Yeah.
of you.
And Hoops Talk 13, Lewis, talked about some of that potential in, this Paolo, Franz, Wendell, Cole, Fultz, Suggs. Absolutely has 2 perennial all-stars in that bunch. Don't even try to argue with me today. I'm not having it. I ain't having it, he says.
Yeah.
Which that's there. I feel. I mean, who would you say are the 2 all-stars? Franz and Wendell from Fultz and Wendell, Fultz and Franz. I guess I would go with Fultz and Franz right now. That's what I would do.
I
Just 'cause I
feel
haven't
like
seen
I
Paolo
want to
step on the
put
court yet.
Wendell in there,
Yeah.
but you're probably right on that one.
Yeah.
Take any bunch you want there. I think I love that he says, "Don't even try to argue with me today. I ain't having it." Yeah. I think there's definitely a little bit of that. We're not all quite in that recovery stage that you are from yesterday, but we all are sort of a little bit like, yeah. This was a lot of talk about and some mudslinging between us.
Right.
I like this guy. I don't like that guy. Oh, we got to get this guy, And it's like now we can all hashtag magic together and just kind of relax a little bit. And you can feel it there in those last 2 sentences from him that he's kind of like, not today. This is my feeling. Don't at me.
Don't even try. Don't even try. All right. Next up, we have our boy Jonathan.
Yes.
Jonathan _Z89. With the post, "Welcome to Orlando, Paolo Banchero. Let's get to work, big fella." And he's already got the fresh number 5 Banchero all ready to go, looking silky. Already has the draft hat and everything. My man comes through just
They were
studded.
cranking out those jerseys at Amway Center.
That's
I
nice.
saw that. That's great. I love to see it. John, I would like to see this man right here. You've all seen him. He's one of the biggest
he's a
Orlando
legend,
Magic fans there is. He's got all the garb on. I would like to see him design somebody's draft suit because the stuff he wears is pretty legit. And I'm just saying, maybe he can make Paolo a brand new fit. It looks something like what he's wearing.
Yeah.
And I'd be interested to see that.
Perfect.
He needs a job in fashion, is all I'm saying.
Jonathan, are you wearing PJs though, my dude? Isn't it hot in Orlando?
No, man, he's got a whole kit there of things
It's
that he's
hot
built
up
and
here.
put together. I mean, look, he
must
needs
run
to
cold.
represent.
Oh yeah, he represents hard, man. He's a legend. You're a legend, Jonathan. We love you.
I don't think the temperature is part of what goes through his head. I think he realizes what can I put magic
You're
on
right.
my body.
You're right.
And I just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm setting the bar too low.
He's all in for the team.
I'm letting just biochemical. I can't get in the way.
Yeah.
My comfort means nothing to my fandom.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I should. I'm sorry. I need to get there. I need to get there. And him having that number 5 jersey.
Yeah, it looks weird at
brought
first, right?
us immediately a question, and it's been kind of bouncing around the Orlando Magic community. Well, if he's having 5, what's going on with Bamba? Because he's currently kind of still on the roster, and he's number 5 last I checked.
Right.
So, the immediate thought that went through my head is like, well, does that mean he's out the door? Has he already gone? What's going on? But it doesn't seem that way.
No.
Based on
this
this
actually
post
seems like good
from-
news.
Yeah, Magic PR said Orlando Magic uniform numbers. Mo Bamba has changed his number to 11, which he wore while in high school. Paolo will wear 5. Caleb Houston will wear number 2. Hashtag Magic together. And then Playing Dead put a picture of Mo Bamba there in his high school jersey, number 11. Bamba.
I mean, I guess this means we're keeping Mo Bamba, which I'm for. But I got to ask you, as
Yeah.
a guy who loves the number 11 and was disappointed when Big Baby Davis put it on.
Yep.
And I remember earlier this year you saying you're done with Mo Bamba. Now he's
Yeah.
donning your 11. What are your thoughts?
If he stays with us, I might have to get a Bamba jersey.
Woo, man.
I might have to get a Bamba
It
jersey.
is one of those kind of shows today where
11 is my lucky number. I wore it all through, high school playing baseball and everything.
Yeah.
And as
Wow.
a kid, and so that we'll see. I mean, if Mo signs a little extension with us, as much as I hate him, if he settles into a bench role, and hate is a strong word. As much as his play frustrates me sometimes.
Right. True.
I
Me
would,
as well, to be fair.
Yeah. If he settles into a bench role and can give us some solid, minutes, I like that role for him. I don't love him as a starter.
Me too.
That's
Agreed.
what frustrates me.
Yep.
But coming off the bench,
Agreed.
back up big, next to Paolo Banchero now, giving some space for Paolo to work in the lane. I like that combination.
I do. I do. I said earlier on an earlier show, I kind of wanted us to bring Bamba back and have him be that bench big that comes in, and I think that's what they're leaning towards. So I'm very for it. I think when he got drafted, he was put in this position where you're like supposed to now be the face of the franchise and take us to the next level. And I don't think he was ready to do that, or I don't think he was that kind of player.
Yeah,
and he definitely isn't now. And now he doesn't have to be.
Right.
There are other guys for that. So I think this will be a role that will go really well for him.
All right. Couple more. This one's from Cole Anthony. This one's getting some buzz around the community. It's a picture that Cole Anthony said, found this somewhere. And it looks like it's maybe 13, 14-year-old Paolo Banchero.
Paolo Baby
13.
Chero.
Baby Chero, yeah. An old profile picture of some point. I just love that we're already getting, Cole trolling his new teammate, welcoming in with a little bit of fun ribbing. It just gets Paolo, probably gave him a laugh, and now gets him already welcomed into the locker room.
Right.
Getting a taste of what these guys are about, because it's a really fun group of dudes.
Yep.
And it's a hard-working group of guys, which, based on what Paolo was saying in some of his post interviews about, his weaknesses, he knows he wants to work on his three-point shot. He knows he wants to work on his lateral quickness. He's ready to get in the gym and work hard, he said.
Right.
So he's
with a team that has some very good defenders to learn from.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So it's just a match made in heaven. It's going to be fantastic.
Agreed. Yeah, I always love to see the interaction between the guys, and I really did feel like he would be a good fit with our guys because of the just the way they are. And I was curious. I know Chet knew Jalen, but I didn't seem like he was the kind of fun guy that was going to seem more like a mushroom fun guy than an actual fun guy. And so I think we're still gonna jab him. I mean, come on, we're putting up our dukes here now.
Yes, okay.
So we gotta. But I love to see the camaraderie between these guys, and I wasn't sure Jabari was gonna mix with our guys either, because he seemed like soft spoken and cool. He didn't seem like a bad young man at all. I wish him well. But I feel like he's a good fit with our guys, and I think they're going to have a lot of fun, and I think they're going to be fun to watch, because I think that fun that we saw a team that won 22 games kind of having is probably maybe a first in NBA history. That to see that kind of camaraderie and fun being had on a team that's not winning games.
Yeah.
And this year, as we start to win more games, I think it's going to bring more eyes to our product and continue to make things go in an upward trajectory that everyone's going to want to watch, not have to, want to watch.
And will that product include one Gary Harris? Vagberg asks. Re-signing Gary priority number one now? And Drew Paulo Hive chimes in, Gary, a must re-sign.
Vogberg has
what are you thinking
hit
here,
us
Pich?
with a very interesting thing. I think it's possible that we re-sign all these guys and just bring them back and kind of go, because as we've said many times, this is a team that we haven't really seen all play healthy together before.
Yeah.
The team played really well after the All-Star break as guys started to come back. And that was a team that had not yet added back Jonathan Isaac. Now he's back. Now Paolo Banchero's here. Hey, let's not mess with a lot else, because honestly, when you looked at, even though StatMuse had things in a weird position, anybody else that we bring in or move out, where are they going? Right? They're going to deep bench. So do we need to really go searching for deep bench? We have a lot of room under the cap to re-sign guys, at least for this year.
Yeah.
So why not just keep the guys in-house who know the system, know what's going on? It's not going to hurt the growth. I mean, unless you think you can get a better veteran for less money or something like that. I don't really know.
I would love to
how it
have
works
him.
out.
It really depends on what's going on between Gary Harris's ears, I think, for me. Whatever he's thinking and feeling. If he feels like he wants to have a guarantee of more minutes,
right?
I don't know if we can give him that guarantee.
And he can get it somewhere.
Yes, and he should. And honestly, he should on our team too.
Right.
But I understand that we're trying to get guys minutes. We're trying to get R.J. Hampton minutes. We're trying to get Cole Anthony minutes. Jalen Suggs got to get minutes.
Yeah, because for me, if we started with that lineup and Suggs isn't working out,
right,
I'd turn to him next.
Quick. You have a quick Yeah, but do you want, again, is that the best thing for Jalen's development to know he's got a short leash? Because Gary.
Oh, I
Harris
didn't
is
say the
right
leash
there.
was short.
Well, a quick pull is a short leash.
Yeah, well,
We're using
sometimes
metaphors
Suggs
here.
gets into foul trouble
That's
early,
true, yeah.
and then that's why you have that guy there. So you're right. I think it all has to do with him and how much basketball does he want to play this year?
Right.
Does he want to be part of making this team better and being a part of it, or does he want to go ball out somewhere and get big minutes for a team that has that need? Hey, that's up to him, man. Either way, I understand.
And I'm wondering what our front office / coaching team is willing to give to Gary too in the way of minutes, because I think right now, you ask me, like, he definitely played better in many spurts than Jalen Suggs last year. He definitely played better than RJ Hampton most of the time, in my opinion. He became one of our best knockdown shooters. RJ shot well at the end of the year, but
if Gary Harris was open in the corner, it's a bucket.
In. Yeah, and his defense he just has such a nose for the ball,
right?
In way of just kind of luring defenders into bad passes, stepping into passing lanes. He positions his body so well.
He's the kind of guy that I want Paolo to get that.
Yeah,
learn from him.
Exactly.
He's one of the names I was thinking of.
Yes.
So, yeah, obviously I'd like to have him, but
I would love to have him. We'll see.
I understand if he walks.
Hey, maybe if he wants to get a bag, we could have a front-loaded contract, and he can get paid and be on a playoff team, like you said, Pish.
Because in the bag is cash considerations, right? That's what. Let's use it. Put the $sign jersey on him. Let's go. I'd buy one of those jerseys, by the way.
Yes.
It says considerations on the back.
Number sign.
Number sign.
Yep. Oh, man.
Come on.
I would get one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we already got cash considerations in a trade last year, but then we got him again this year. Maybe that's his brother money considerations. Cash and money. We got the bros.
Cash
now
and
we got
money,
2 sets of
millionaires,
bros.
baby. All right. Well, thanks everyone for your interaction online. If you want to share a post with us at @court_cousins, Instagram and Twitter, send it our way. We do social media roundup every episode.
Yeah, man. Let's not undersell the Magic community.
Oh God,
has been bananas, and you guys have been creating gems, getting out there, saying what you need to say. Bravo to you. You made it super fun to log on to Twitter. Sometimes that's a spot that I need to stay away from because it's negative and bad. But you made it a fun place to be, and I hope it continues to be that way. But man, it was a good run, man. Everybody was on their game. Well, God was popping, and other people were joining them, and it's a good time, man. Thanks for all that stuff that you create. That makes it fun for us to report on it here and like and share. Love it. Keep it going.
So now we're going into some of our old tried and true segments that we haven't really been doing too much of in the off season, but we're trying to get back into. So
fact.
Now it's fact or fiction, Pish. So the way this one works, ladies and gentlemen, very straightforward. We're going to say a statement, and then Pish or I will start it off and say whether that statement is fact or fiction.
Or usually I'll forget and I'll say true or false.
And then I'll have to reprimand you.
But I will try to stay with fact or fiction.
Get on script. Figure it out, Pish. All right, so fact or fiction. We're going to jump around with some draft news, some Orlando Magic news, all right?
All right.
So we're going to start with what a lot of those national media pundits are talking about. Detroit Pistons had the best draft, Pish. Is that fact or fiction?
It is fiction for me. I love that they got Jaden Ivey. As you know, in my mock draft, I could see him going to the Pistons. I saw this happening. And I love that they got Jalen Duren because they needed some more inside guys.
Yep.
I do love this draft for them. But you asked me if Detroit had the best draft.
The best.
So it's fiction. Because the best draft was by the Orlando Magic.
Yes. I thought we didn't even have to say that. Paolo Banchero at number 1. Nobody saw it coming. We got the best player in the draft. We didn't overthink it. That's an A. If I'm going to look around the league and talk about some other teams that I really like what they did, though, I do think the Pistons had a really strong draft.
They did, yeah.
I'm not super stoked about looking at Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, and Jalen Duren across the court when we play them a number of times every year. That's going to be a good core, good triad moving forward. they've got something good
Plus,
there.
they have a ton of cap space from moving Jeremy Grant
They do.
to the Blazers. So
Yeah.
they're going to make a move at some free agent.
Yeah, well, they absorbed some of that with the Kemba Walker trade that we're going to talk about in a moment.
right, yeah.
But I think they're going to work out some type of buyout with him, so I don't think
Sure.
much of that will be on the books.
Okay.
But, a little love to those Rockets fans that were kind of hurting before, because I do really like what the Rockets got. They've got a Jabari Smith Jr. now with a chip on his shoulder, because
Yeah.
he's just surprised and dumbfounded that he didn't go one, thought he was going to go one.
Yeah.
He's going to be working everyone out the gym. They got Tari Eason,
Sure.
who I didn't know too much about, but he's, a wing with a lot of upside. Kind of fits in well now. They have Jalen Green with the ball, Kevin Porter Jr. Now they've got Jabari Smith Jr., the sharpshooter, as their 4. Tari Eason can be a 3 for them. That's kind of cool. And the guy that we talked about in our mock drafts as potentially in the top 10 or around there, Ty Washington.
Yeah, I was really shocked that his name didn't keep popping up for a while, and I kind of forgot about him in the mid-20s because I was like, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, that's a great pick for the Rockets that low. But then you get 3 first-rounders. You got to assume at least one of these is going to be a star.
Yeah,
maybe 2 out of this one, and you already had a good young bunch growing there. So I think that clip that you see of them being upset about not getting Paolo in the beginning, hey, by the end, I'm sure they were pretty happy with what they got here, and they should be, because I would say after us in the Pistons, I think they had the next best draft.
And they got rid of Christian Wood,
Mm-hmm.
Which there's just question marks there. People were kind of dumbfounded by that trade.
It was a weird one, yeah. They picked up a lot of Mavericks.
They got the 2025 Milwaukee Bucks pick. If Giannis is healthy, you got to figure that's not going to be a great pick.
No.
But that kind of makes me question Christian Wood. He's a good player, but he's been bounced around by a bunch of teams.
Yeah, what's he been in the league, 4 or 5 years? This will be his 3rd team.
And he's a
Not a good
solid
sign.
player. That always makes me wary of maybe this guy isn't the best for the culture in the locker room. That's a complete assumption. But if that's the case, you kind of moved off from who could be a culture killer. There was some beef around that last season. And now they have this solid young core. So I like what they did. And I also like what the Timberwolves did, man.
Oh.
Not as flashy. They had a couple of picks in the 20s. Walker Kessler.
That bumpkin?
Big, goofy-looking white dude. Yeah, not a flashy pick, but a good pick as a solid center to back up Karl Anthony Towns. And the reason why I put them potentially in my best draft conversation was really Wendell Moore Jr.
Right, I like Wendell Moore Jr.
I
think
was
that's a good
really
move, but-
impressed by his play last year when we were watching Focused on Paolo. Wendell also jumped off the screen a little bit.
Walker Kessler gives me Mike Doliak vibes.
No, he's not going to be anything spectacular. But I think with
did
22
like the Wendell
and
Moore
26, you're getting now your backup point
pick, yeah.
guard.
Sure.
Because when D'Angelo Russell comes off, they had Patrick Beverly and I don't know who else. They must have.
Yeah, I
someone
mean, the
else.
Wolves are a team that's ready to take that next step, so
Right.
they just need some
Some
depth,
role players,
and that's what they got. So
and I like
it
what
works
they
for
got.
them. It's not
Now,
sexy, but
yeah.
it works.
Fact or fiction? Did the Pistons have the best draft?
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna say fiction. I'm gonna go with the Rockets.
Whew.
I like them picking up Ty Washington and an angry Jabari Smith Jr.
Okay.
more than I like Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren.
See, now some guys, when they get angry, they're like the Hulk, and you don't want to see them when they get angry.
Right.
Jabari doesn't give me that vibe.
Really?
Doesn't. He doesn't give me that, like, when you pissed off Kobe Bryant, he's dropping 40 on you at least. You know, he doesn't give me that vibe. He gives me that vibe like somebody that might turtle up. But I hope not.
I don't think so. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Just
All
the vibe I got.
Okay. All right. Let's go on to some good vibes now. Some magic vibes. So next fact or fiction. We talked about this briefly and then stopped ourselves.
Okay.
Now we can dig in.
Okay.
Paolo Banchero
Yep.
will start game 1 of the NBA regular season for the Orlando Magic.
Fact. Get out of here with this. I mean, what? Yeah. Go ahead. What do you think?
I don't know, man.
He doesn't know.
I don't know. I mean, I
He
get
doesn't
it.
know.
He's the number 1 overall pick, and he's supposed to be the guy.
Lord.
But, ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac.
Look, with all respect to Matt, who is a big FSU guy and joined us yesterday, and he is a big Jonathan Isaac guy. And look, I like Jonathan Isaac. I think hopefully he's going to be a good player for us. I will play devil's advocate on this if you want me for a second, because you know how when we get guys, we like to kind of baby them in.
Right.
If back from an injury or new to the team.
Yeah.
So maybe Isaac starts, and then they bring him in halfway through the first quarter to get that pop from the crowd. But honestly, I can't see them not putting the number 1 pick in the starting lineup. He gets introduced to the people go bananas. This is when you can draft the number 1 pick. He's supposed to be like kind of a face of your franchise.
Yeah.
You got to put him on the court.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, unless he's injured, he starts game 1.
I feel like it's fact, but my heart wants me to say fiction. That's why.
Interesting.
I just feel like Jonathan Isaac is a NBA Defensive Player of the Year guy, and him next to Wendell Carter Jr. As the 5 and the 4, and then Franz at the 3, Jalen at the 2, and Fultz at the 1.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the lineup. Yeah, it might, depending on, there could be some scoring struggles there because there's not a lot of shooting on the floor, but putting Paolo on there doesn't give us a whole lot more shooting. That's his biggest area of growth, I think, or one of his biggest areas of growth.
Right.
He's more of a mid-range assassin type of guy, which is where Fultz also makes his money.
All right. Well, could you see a world where instead of Suggs,
Yeah.
we get a little Franz
Ah.
at the shooting guard, and then Isaac gets to start that way, and we have.
And Paolo plays the 3.
I mean, I could see it.
It could work against certain teams.
I don't think that's. Yeah. I mean,
It could definitely,
could
depending
happen.
on the personnel on the other squad.
I just think there's no way he doesn't start that game. Whether he remains in there because of maybe they want to change lineups up or something like that. Whatever. But
Yeah.
there's no way if he's healthy.
I have one more
He
point.
doesn't start.
I have one more point.
Oh, he's not
to,
done.
to
He's got
prove
more
my
points.
fiction. Okay.
He's got more
I
points.
think about the culture of the squad.
Yep.
And I think that there's something to be said in earning it. And I think that this is a coach and a team that really loves the idea of earning it. Jalen Suggs talked a lot about
Right.
this at the beginning of last year, how he knew coming in that he had to earn the spot.
Yeah.
And he had to play, and he wasn't expecting himself to start. And I
Sure.
think that was a great mindset to come in with. And I think Paolo needs to have that same mindset. Now, Jalen did end up starting because of some injury stuff that was going on. We were just short at the guard position. And so
Right.
he ended up starting. But I think there's something to be said that Paolo comes off the bench to start the year and maybe then earns his way into the starting lineup.
You know what? Good take. I'll give you
Okay.
this.
All right.
You found a way to make that plausible,
Yeah.
but I feel during the course of this full off season, he will have earned it by the time that comes.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think
I hope you're right.
I don't think he's the kind of player that thinks just because he got drafted first, he's in the starting lineup. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy.
No, he wants.
He
to
seems
earn
like
it,
the guy that's like, oh, my work isn't done. My work has just begun. So I feel like he's going to try to prove to the other guys on his team, this is why I was the number 1 pick, guys. And I think they will reward him on opening day with a start. But I
It'll
like
be
the
interesting
I like the thought
to
process.
get a little bit more closer view into Paolo because a lot has been said about his leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and because I don't follow Duke like that. We don't get those behind the scenes kind of looks
Right.
at Paolo. I'm not familiar with him in that way.
I did
So
watch a
will
lot
be-
of Duke this season early
Yeah.
on because you were like, we got to start watching these guys because they're probably going to have a high pick. And I'm glad I saw him a lot at Duke because at least I knew his game and thought that he was the best player. But yeah, they didn't really show a lot of that. When you hear
Yeah.
leadership from Duke, it's always Coach K stuff.
Right. It's
so
different in college too.
That's
yeah.
kind of the way it is, you know.
And I feel like I glean a lot more about the guys and their leadership style through their social media posts. Like just, Cole or
Right.
Chuma
Sure.
or whoever
Sure.
it is, just with an Instagram post of something going on in the locker room or
Right, but there's other
know,
ways to lead.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different types
I
of
get what you're
leadership.
saying.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see how he kind of acts within this group and how he asserts himself within this group.
Yeah, I think it's going to go well.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna skip to another NBA topic here.
All right.
I was surprised when the Kings took Keegan Murray. Fact or fiction, Pish?
I was surprised. I will say fact. I was surprised when we were at the draft and he was number 4. Although in my mock draft, I did have the Kings taking him, and then Jaden Ivey going 5. But I was still shocked because I think when we did that mock, I kind of was like, I mean, I thought Jaden Ivey was a potential top 3, to be honest. His talent is there. So for him to slip to 5 was really the biggest thing. Not that Keegan Murray's not a good player. It's no knock on him.
Yeah.
But fact, I was shocked, yes.
Yeah, I would say this is fiction for me. I was watching a lot of the Locked On Kings podcast.
Oh.
I love, for leading up to the draft, I think he does a great job. I don't know the guy's name, but I think he's really good at what he does at the Locked On Kings there. And so he had a number of segments about Keegan Murray. They were kind of zoomed in on Keegan Murray very early on as potentially their guy.
Right.
And he just fits really well with that squad. I mean, they have Domantas Sabonis, they have De'Aaron Fox, they have Davion Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their guards, they have their big. They need that versatile wing who can switch everything. And, I mean, Keegan Murray's a great player.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really surprised. I guess what was surprising to me is if you were going to take Keegan Murray, couldn't trade back,
That was the argument that was made.
Get a second-round pick or cash considerations,
Sure.
couldn't get anything to
That was the
swap
argument
there.
that they were making. A lot of
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to call them, but people in the know were sort of like, hey, probably could have gotten him a little lower.
Yeah. I guess the
But
same
you know what?
could be said
Sometimes
about
guys,
us,
some guys just want to take
You gotta
your
take your
guy,
guy.
and get out,
Yep.
I'm sure they looked around. I mean, front offices work hard, and they're trying to find a good deal. And if you're somewhere in the middle like that, it's hard to know if the guy you want's going to really be available if you trade down 2 or 3 picks.
Right.
So
And then it's a risk.
Yeah, it's too big a risk to take. And if they really loved him, you just take them.
Yeah, I hope they really did love him because some of the other murmurings are, Kings doing Kings things. And when you're this high
Sacramento
in the draft,
Kings things.
Yes, when you're this high in the draft, you got to take the best player available
Yeah.
and figure out talent. Talent will make itself work. You
Yeah.
know? And so are they just drafting for fit because they're so desperate to get in the playoffs? And is that the right move? I'm not sure, but I wasn't super surprised that they did it this way.
All right.
All right, going back to our beloved Orlando Magic before one more NBA topic, and then we're out of fact and fiction.
Okay.
Caleb Houston
Yes.
makes the opening day roster. Fact or fiction? So this is the 15-man.
Tough to say because we don't really know what we're going to have available for spots with the free agents, whether we're going to bring all those guys back. He could be a Lakeland Magic member come opening day. I don't know. But you know what?
Like a two-way.
This is a guy from Michigan that I didn't know much about. And last year when I had those vibes, we got some Franz Wagner. So I'm going to go ahead and say fact. I'm gonna push a few chips in on this young man and say, Caleb Houston. And this might be another reason that Houston fans are a little bitter at us for taking a guy with their last name. But I haven't heard much about him, but what I've heard has been mostly good. So
Yeah.
For where we got him in the draft, I think he's a good piece to be part of the future.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fact for me as well. I think he'll make the 15 certainly. He's a young guy. I think what it means, unfortunately, is maybe Ignis.
Yeah,
isn't
there's
on the
some
squad.
other teams that
Someone's got to go,
someone's
right?
gotta
It's
go,
got to
yeah.
be Ignis or Admiral probably.
Yeah.
I think he's about 6'8" with over a 7-foot wingspan. This
Sure.
guy, Caleb
Yeah,
Houston.
yeah.
That's more around like Ignis's size. I don't know. One of those guys, unfortunately, probably will not be on the roster. Not really sure.
Right.
But maybe if we let Gary and Terrence Ross walk, that those guys still get a spot at the end of the bench.
Sure.
I don't know much about Caleb Houston. I'm going to start digging into it a little bit more. But what I looked at the scouting videos looks like that stereotypical phrase, the 3-and-D guy, kind of a spot-up shooter right now. Doesn't do a lot off the dribble, but a defensive-minded guy, which, of course, our front office loves. And, hey, give me a guy that's going to – if when you're taking a pick in the 30s – and you're not really sure,
Right.
give me a guy that plays defense.
Right.
as we saw with Chuma Okeke last year,
Absolutely.
didn't
That's a good
start
call.
that hot with his offense, but he earned himself on the minutes on the court by playing good defense.
Yeah, give me a guy that's going to be a dog off the bench,
Yeah.
play good defense. And in
That's
this
this
case, he's
kid.
got some camaraderie from playing with Franz. That's also
Yeah.
cool.
Does he? Is he a freshman or sophomore? I don't know if he does have camaraderie. I'll
Was
have
he
to
a
check
freshman?
that.
Oh,
I'm not-
no,
I'm
I
not
didn't think he
100%.
was. But all right,
Yeah.
maybe he was.
But
We have much to learn of this Caleb Houston, but we like what we know so far. Welcome to Orlando. That's the way most of the NBA fans look at our team. They don't
Yeah.
know much, but they
I'm
like our
excited-
logo.
I'll be excited to see him in summer league for sure.
Yeah.
And I think he will.
It
be
will,
on
yeah,
the roster.
exactly. I'm looking. That'll be good.
All right, so the last one on our list, Pish,
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking about this because we're in the tri-state area here. We live in Connecticut, and we get a lot of New York sports radio. So
yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't posit this query,
Sure.
this statement. The Knicks had the worst draft, as many Knicks fans are stating right now.
Man, I gotta say fact on this. Even though there's some teams like the Celtics that just had a late second rounder. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if your expectations are low, then you're fine. But this was bananas, and
It
I
was.
think anybody who knows, New York fans, especially at the draft, they're vocal people. So I was interested when their pick came up at 11 to see. All right, here we go. Let's see what these guys how they react. And it was not favorably.
No.
They were very upset. They did not know the name of the gentleman they had drafted. They were very upset.
Usman Deng.
And I went to the bathroom right after their pick because I had to go, but I was going to wait. I needed
Yeah.
to see how this played out. So I go into the bathroom, and that's when all the Knicks fans left. By the way,
Yeah.
like not all, but most of the Knicks fans left at that point because they're like, ah, shit, we got this guy. I heard guys complaining in the bathroom like, who is this walking guy? What are we doing? And they're like, why didn't we trade for Jaden Ivey? What are we doing? It's like, what are you guys talking about? Like, you were not part of this conversation. This draft was not about you. You're going to get some middle of the road guy because you refused to blow it up and start fresh like we did. So sit there. And that's what you said when you were on ESPN's
I was
New York
on ESPN
radio.
New York radio driving in.
While
dude.
we were driving in, this guy's like, I'm going to call in. And Donovan was like, all right. And he gets right through.
I got right on.
Right on hold. And after one commercial break, boom, you're there giving your take.
That
Like,
was the I did not expect it to be that fast when I called into ESPN New York. I think it probably was because we were Magic fans, and I was like, yeah, I'm
Right.
a Magic fan.
we had a little bit
I
different
got
take on
our
something.
take, and then I
And then
wanna
you
talk
also
about
gave
the
a nice
Knicks.
take about the Knicks, which was good. You basically said what I just said about they need to blow
Right.
it up and start fresh. And
And that's why I will say that this is they're maybe not the worst, but they're among the worst draft. I'll break down exactly these moves for everyone listening right now or viewing. So the first trade that they had was with the Thunder, and the Knicks got a 2023 first round pick via Detroit with protected 1 to 18. That's highly protected. 2023 pick via Washington, protected 1 through 14.
I didn't even know you could protect that low. All right, go on.
2023 first round pick via Denver, protected 1 through 14. So they basically got 3 first round picks, 15 or further. One's 19 or further from the Thunder. And they traded Usman Deng, who's this kind of lanky wing prospect that looks interesting, very interesting.
Sure, exactly.
So add to the Thunder's pick of weird players. There you go.
Well, yeah, because I think the Thunder probably really wanted him at 12, and then he was gone. So then they were like, "Wow, what can we do to get him?"
Have 3 of these crazily protected.
They must have a lot of
first-round
faith in him.
picks. Yeah, no, they probably like him. And then so after that, at that point, then the Knicks had nothing except these picks. They have these 3 picks, and then
And I didn't know that those picks were that high at the moment, so I kind of thought, "Ooh, decent move."
right, interesting.
Go on.
Yes. Then they trade with the Hornets.
Chapter 2.
And they receive Jalen Duren. And the Hornets get one of those, the 2023 Denver protected 1 through 14 pick, and then 4 second-round picks.
Yes, I remember when they made this announcement, and the arena
Yeah.
was like, "Whoa!" Like, I don't know if four picks of any round have ever been
Yeah.
included in one trade, and we all were like, "Whoa, that seems a bit strong." But like, you're rolling the dice a lot in the second round anyway. But still, it was like, "Ooh, like that seems like a steep price." But
You
Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
So
You
thumbs
gotta-
up still.
Yeah.
So
that's
far,
good.
this seems like they've been turning a little bit of water to wine, and
Right.
almost like, okay,
So now you got a couple first round
Okay.
picks and Jalen Duren now.
right, all right.
So that looks pretty good.
But let's read on chapter
But
3.
They weren't done.
Okay.
They weren't done. Then they made a trade with the Pistons
Mm-hmm.
where the Knicks received the 2025 first round pick from Milwaukee, protected 1 through 4.
Okay,
That's a
probably
better-
not going to be in there. So,
Yeah, no, it's not going to be in there. And the Pistons receive the number 13 pick, Jalen Duren, and Kemba Walker. So in the end, the Knicks got a 2023 first round pick from Detroit, 1 through 18 protected. 2023 first round pick from Washington, 1 through 14 protected. 2025 first round pick from Milwaukee, 1 through 4 protected, and $18 million in cap space moving Kemba Walker's contract.
I mean, okay, then moving the Kemba Walker contract was important to them, so I think that's cool. But you can't be waking up happy about that if you're a Knicks fan. I think that.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I talked about when I called in
Yeah.
on the radio,
It's
and I said,
inactivity, really.
you know, number one, Knicks fans, you're delusional out there if you think the Sacramento Kings are going to trade out of 4 so you can get Jaden Ivey or the Pistons.
Yeah, you're not
If
a
you
piece
think you're gonna
away.
you don't have the assets to make that move.
No.
That's crazy.
No.
And you're just you're continuing to do what we as Magic fans and our squad was doing a few years ago. You're toiling in the mid card.
This is why I casualed for a while.
Right. Yeah, you got your Vooch,
If they're not going to put in
Aaron
any effort to
Gordon.
making a legit team,
Right.
why am I going to be a
Evan
part of
Fournier,
this?
and the Knicks even have Evan Fournier right now. So
Right.
the parallel is crazy
Sure.
because they're going to be that team that gets in and gets knocked out in the first round. That is their ceiling right now.
Yep.
And they can continue to do that.
Sure.
And yes, they do have the marquee of New York, but that hasn't seemed to be a very attractive thing lately.
Not now
So-
with Brooklyn over there.
Right? And so they're making all these moves kind of half-ass, if I want to say it that way. They're getting some picks, yes,
Yeah.
some assets,
Right.
but not the type of picks that you really want if you were to move on from who's their forward?
Eddie Curry.
No. If they were to move on from Julius Randle,
Uh-huh.
or I don't want to say R.J. Barrett, you know, he's
Right.
still kind of a young player. I don't know if you want to move on from him, but everyone else can go,
Yeah.
you know, and
well, I
get
think
some picks and then like really start to rebuild this because
Right.
these picks that they got
Yeah.
are not going to help rebuild anything.
Yeah, if you're
gonna-
front office, you got to go in whole ass. You can't be going in half ass like
Right.
this, like you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I
don't
guess
know
our
if they're
front
gonna-
office nailed it out of the park so bad that it's
Yeah.
weird to look at one that's like, what are you doing?
It
Like,
was
it'd
a
almost be
lot of
better if they
moves.
did nothing.
It was a lot of moves to kind of move laterally and to really push your chips all in
Sure.
on Jalen Brunson. Because that's
okay.
what this is for. They want cap space. They're trying to go over after Jalen Brunson. They've hired his dad as an assistant coach.
All right.
They've been kind of, wooing him, trying to get him to come there. I guess, like, Jalen Brunson's the guy in New York.
Sure.
Ugh.
Sure. He's good enough to get them to that 7th seed and a
Right,
first round
exactly.
exit, just like you're saying.
Yeah, treading water, but I don't know if it was the worst, but it was definitely the most confusing.
Well,
of
it
the draft.
made more of an impact. Like I said, there are some teams that barely drafted, but to have a pick at 11 and basically come away with, it's almost like they didn't want to draft.
Yeah,
Like they didn't want to have to pay somebody additional monies. And the best part of this is really they got rid of Kemba Walker's contract. So I guess
Yeah.
if you're looking for a silver lining, that's for sure it.
they cleansed
But
their
that's a
previous
lot of
sins.
work to basically do that and
Right.
have a bunch of other draft picks that you may not even get actually. So and the Bucks
It's
pick
just-
is not going to be a good one. Like
You had
it's very strange.
Hardy like for a moment. You had Jalen Duren, not Jalen
Right.
Hardy. You had Jalen Duren
Sure.
for a moment. I know you have Mitchell Robinson, but he's got to get paid. And
Right.
Jalen Duren seems like a restart on that.
Sure.
Similar type
Sure.
of player, like traditional kind of center down low.
Yeah.
Let Mitchell
That's a front
walk
court that
or-
seems interesting.
Yeah. Let Mitchell walk and then put Jalen Duren next to Julius Randle, see what goes on.
Yeah.
And you can still make a run at.
Old school hoop
At
with a
Jalen
power
Brunson.
four and a center. Old
Yeah.
man, I love it.
They probably couldn't have made a run if they didn't get rid of this Kemba Walker money. But
Maybe.
They better get Jalen Brunson now.
Ooh, they better get somebody
They better get somebody.
other than Trevor Keels.
So what do you think about these fact or fictions, ladies and gentlemen? Would you have answered them similarly or different than we did? Let us know in the comments. What are you most excited about in this next year coming up? And the food just got here, so you have to look at it while you answer.
For sure, consistency. That's what I'm looking for. Like, you see all these like quick moments where the Magic look good defensively, sometimes offensively. There's just no consistency right now, like whatsoever. Like, every game is a mystery. It would be nice to have a go-to scorer, like someone that 4 seconds left on the clock, depending on whatever period, you give that, person the ball and they're gonna hit that, shot.
You're describing Paolo Banchero.
Absolutely. Honestly, if we don't pick Jabari, Paolo is the next most welcome person in my book.
So you're with Pich on anyone but Chet.
Anybody but Chet, honestly.
Yeah.
We don't need defense. We're not a bad defensive team. We were one of the better defensive teams last season. So honestly, that pick would be a defensive-minded pick, in my opinion. So Jabari or Paolo, it means we're looking for that offensive talent. So that's what I want.
Coming in, is this number one pick overall going to be coming off the bench?
You can have a number one pick coming from the bench. I'm sorry. I mean, you can't. Why do you drop a guy number one and then bring him from the bench? You can't. You can't. You can't. The only way that would happen is if Jonathan Isaac comes back being Jonathan Isaac prior to injury. However, we just saw the finals, right? And we saw what Klay did in the final. Klay was a player that was out 2 years. And we saw his struggle. It was not an easy comeback from Klay to come back. So I expect some slow comeback from J.I., which definitely helps. It's a perfect because our number one pick will get those minutes, and then J.I. will slowly come back. It's ideal.
So J.I. is going to play the number one pick off the court. Matt likes that. What do you think, Matt?
We probably need to have this discussion next summer. That's not for this summer.
Yeah. It's the NBA.
Yeah.
If you're
number one pick, so you think the number one pick will start day one?
Oh, it should. Absolutely should. They absolutely should.
See, I
have more thoughts.
You have more, okay. All right. What do you think?
This isn't baseball where they need to go to the minors first.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
No, we're not a team on the edge of hitting. We were like a playoff team this year. We had 22 wins.
Yes.
So if you're gonna draft a guy one and not start him, what's up with that? What are you trying to prove? What you trying to get worse? Throw him out there. Let him get the minutes. This is a big time guy, big time draft.
We need to see what version of Jonathan Isaac we have back.
Right.
It's not easy to not play ball for 2 years and come back to what we saw at the bubble, right? So that was a crazy Jonathan Isaac, and right before that,
What are you most excited about with this squad moving forward, Yachty? For next year?
I think we saw what these young kids are bringing to the table. We saw flashes, right, throughout the season. And, I mean, just look at the first, I think it was 20 games from Cole Anthony. Kid was absolutely crazy. So we got excited about that. Then Cole Anthony happened, whatever happened, he fell out, right? But then we closed the season with Markelle Fultz putting some crazy numbers on minutes restrictions.
Markelle is the truth.
We are about to see what this team is about, and that's what I want to see. Before we do anything else, before we bring anybody else, I want to see what this team brings to the table. I think that's what I'm looking forward to see and excited to see. Our plus minus should be 35, and I'm going plus 35 next year. I think we're gonna jump 12 wings next year. I think a healthy Markel is just 10 wings.
Yeah, I agree.
That's gonna get us to 33 wings, and then we develop. I think Wendell is gonna have a breakout season, and other players are just gonna get there. I think we're gonna be over 35 wins. We're gonna be right there in the playing tournament, and of course, the health part needs to be on our side.
Right.
Hey, Matt, so what I would like to hear about now is what you're most excited about our Orlando Magic team next year.
I think it's just watching the progress of the young guys. So there's a lot of, is so-and-so going to take the next step? Is, like Isaac going to come back good from his injury? Is Fultz going to keep progressing from, his injury? There's a lot of what ifs. But there's also a lot of promise, at the same time. Franz Wagner, I think he exceeded expectations his first year, obviously. Suggs, I think, with the injury, I think that's still, to be determined. But, if we do draft Smith, potentially, you have two guys that were considered the number one pick in the draft, and Fultz and Smith on your roster. You've got a lot of good pieces. I think a big part of it, too, is just, what do you do with all the cap space? What do you do with free agency? Because I think it's great we have all these young guys, but,
It sounds like some other team that has draft capital wants to dump something off on us for like the year, which, all right, I'm listening. That could work.
Yeah, and I think it's at the point where it's like you don't need to bottom out anymore. We got the number one pick this year.
Well, we kind of did bottom out this year. We won 22 games.
No, that's what I'm saying. We don't need to do that again, though. I think we can take like a next step, towards.
Who do you think is most likely to take that step? Who's your guy that's going to come out of the pack here next year? I know for me it's Fultz.
Yeah, I would say Fultz. Isaac's a big what if, just because, he's taken forever to come back from an ACL.
as our next all-star, potential all-star.
I'm an FSU guy, so I'm a homer. I'm rooting for him. But Suggs is interesting too, because he's shown promise, but again, injuries. You gotta wait on him.
Doesn't even mention Wendell or Franz. I don't know.
No, well,
I think those are our guys.
Defend yourself, Matt.
Yeah, no. I think, like I said, Franz exceeded expectations his first year. A lot of promise there. Very smart basketball player.
Yeah.
And then I think Carter he's a legit 2010 guy.
Dude. Well, God says he's top 10 center in the league.
Yeah.
Magic are a big part of my childhood, so it's still nostalgic, even if they just are terrible. So, it's fun to get excited about Magic basketball again, and obviously having the number one pick, having a good roster that's young and promising is exciting. So, it's hopefully going to be fun again.
And thanks so much for staying with us, for rocking with us. If you're still with us here to the end, shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Follow us at @court_cousins on Instagram and Twitter. And check out Card Cousins, our sister channel, where we do box openings, card box battles, all types of stuff for you cardboard connoisseurs out there.
Yeah, it's not just all about the cards either. We like to joke, talk about the players and teams, and tell stories while we do it. We have fun.
And that takes us to the large ending, Pich.
I thought it is the large ending. Yes, that's large. Let's end it. Let's go.
So 1 minute for the large ending, 6 rapid fire topics. Pich, are you ready?
Yes.
We are halfway through the F1 season. Do you think Verstappen is going to double up a back-to-back champion?
Who's going to Verstappen him? Is T. Ross coming back next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Will you be purchasing a Banchero jersey, and which one?
I can't believe you would ask me that question when I'm on a timetable. I will just answer yes. They call them Vikings. I know you're a big fan.
Yeah.
Are there ladies Queens?
Yas Queen.
All right.
Is it time to start watching baseball, Pich? Who's winning the World Series?
it is time because that's kind of all we have left after the
Yes.
Avalanche win the Cup tonight. And I'm going to go with the New York Yankees.
Okay, damn.
They're on a run. How many beers did you consume yesterday?
I have no idea. But shout out to Yachty and Matt, who are good drinking buddies. They definitely
they were
encouraged
putting
me
it down
along
as
the
well.
way.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, I definitely lost track of what you were counting. I know I had a couple of beers that you ended up taking. So I know I lost at least 2. But it is what it is. He enjoyed them way more than I did. And it was a good time was had by all.
A good time was had by all. And that's all for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for kicking it with us. Peace.
Thanks for coming.
The number 1 pick in the books, Adam Silver, making his way to the microphone. With the first pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Paolo Banchero.
Well then, fool, all of you! I'm cheering a Duke guy, so you know I like it. Look at that purple suit, ladies. Don't turn around. That's enough of my mug. Look at the